welcome back to TribPreps. I'm Eric Lee alongside Todd Sommerfeldt as always, and we're here to recap what is week 6 of high school football. Run down the scores real quick, and then we can dive into the action that we saw tonight.
Do that because I want to tell you about 50 seconds that I saw that.
I'm excited to hear about it. So I was at Onalaska, Onalaska picking up a 46-6 win. You were at Tomah, Westby. Tomah winning there 47-26. Elsewhere, Caledonia extends its winning streak to 71 games with a 33-6 win over Chatfield. West Salem over Nakusa, 35-6. Onalaska Luther over Hillsborough, 6-0. Richland Center beats Viroqua, 19-6. And the Dairyland Blair Taylor over Aliva Strum, 45-7. Wildcats stay perfect and improved to 5-0. Yeah. Melmin over Augusta, 28-14. That's the Mustangs' 4th win in a row. Yeah. Lancaster beats Prairie du Chien 29-22, and Leroy Ostrander 62, Houston 48 over there in Minnesota.
Yes.
But tell me about this, about a minute or so of your game.
I usually don't have stuff in front of me, but I do because I want to make sure I have everything right on this. The Tomah Westby game tonight was nothing but big plays. Almost every touchdown came from, I think all but one touchdown or maybe 2 touchdowns. Yeah, all but 2 came from at least 20 yards out, and many over 50 in this one. But I did see I did see something in the first quarter that I've never seen before. First, I saw 2 consecutive kickoff returns for a touchdown, and that was kind of in the middle of this stretch. We had a stretch of 48 seconds where we had 4 touchdowns scored in this game.
That's a touchdown every 12 seconds.
Exactly. And it started with Garrett Vatland from Westby scored on a short, it was a 4-yard touchdown run, and that got Westby within 8-6 because Tomah had started the game with a 37-yard touchdown pass from Justin Gerke to Drew Brookman. So Vatland, and the Vatland 4-yard touchdown run was set up by a 40-yard run that he had. So he got the ball down there and he got in the end zone.
Right.
I think that was 4:51 left in the first quarter. So Westby kicks off. Cade Janiwico takes it, 86 yards for a touchdown. Immediate response. Momentum goes right back to Tomah.
Right.
2 big plays now for Tomah for touchdowns on.
Right. So you got to think that they're sitting.
Yes.
They're liking where they're at.
Yes. And I was behind the play, so of course I didn't get video of him with this big return. Sure. I saw him take off and he made the cut, and I thought, blew that one. But anyways, so Tomah kicks off. Westby Jr. Prince Preston takes it, and he's coming toward me, and I'm like, it's not going to happen again. And all of a sudden I see him burst through a hole, and he's coming running right at me. My phone's in my pocket, so no video. But anyways, a 71-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. So Westby strikes right back.
Right.
Then Tomah gets the ball back again, and they had a decent return. They run back, or they run 1 play, and then the second play of that possession is a 55-yard touchdown pass to Drew Brookman. So out of 5 plays, we had 4 touchdowns, and this all took a grand total of 48 seconds for this. And then we went on a lull the rest of the half, basically.
Sure. But I mean, how can you keep? That's sustainable.
Well, it's funny. I talked to Justin Gerke after the game, and he said he was excited about that little flurry of touchdowns.
Right.
But he's also concerned because he said, he didn't know if that was gonna, maybe kind of pull the offense into playing too fast. He's like, I didn't know if we'd be able to keep up.
Right.
And if we try to start playing too fast, then we might have turnovers.
Right.
That kind of thing. But it was pretty amazing to see, and I don't think I've ever seen consecutive kickoff returns for touchdowns. I'm sure it's happened. I've just never seen it. But yeah, it was one of those games, and it was lots of big plays. Creating a lot of turnovers. We had one, it was at the end of the game, but we had a Westby player just rip the ball out of the hands of a Tomah player and go the distance for a touchdown. That was another long one. Tomah did the same thing to a Westby player, or to Vatland, running with the ball, ran up and instead of tackling, just ripped the ball out.
Wow.
Yeah, so I saw that twice too. So
Just a big play game.
It was. Just from all angles. It was a big play. And Justin Gerke looked very good.
Yeah, I mean, 4 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, said going 3 of them to Brookman. Said going into the game that didn't really go in anticipating to throw the ball a lot.
Sure.
He said Westby obviously was anticipating that they would run it, and he said, you know, they put all the guys in the box, and it was open over the top. And so he just kind of kept lobbing it over the defense, and a lot of times he found Brookman there,
Right.
Able to pull it in. He also had Xander Williams on a short touchdown pass later in the game, where he just kind of threw it up there and let Williams go up and get it.
Sure.
The smart play on that one. But yeah, very impressive throwing. And then, you know, they also ran the ball pretty well too, I thought, in this game. Kind of an overall really good performance for Tomah. Coming off a win over Prairie du Chien too, so now they got 2 in a row
Right.
under their belts, and that's nice moving forward for them.
Yeah, and they got Aquinas
Yep.
next week.
Which is hurting.
They are hurting. I mean, both, I imagine, you know, mentally after these last
And
couple of
physically.
games, but very much so physically. I mean, they're down Will Cambio for the rest of the year.
Yep.
And
The line
four
is decimated.
offensive linemen for what sounds like is the foreseeable future. So
Which
it's
is
tough, and that's
as good as Cambio is.
Right.
That's the tougher thing. Even
Right.
if it's a couple linemen.
because we've seen what Hargrove can do back
Yeah.
there with in his absence,
Yes.
in Cambio's absence, that is.
Yeah. But when you're a school the size of Aquinas, and you know we've talked about how it's great they've been building numbers. When you start
Right.
losing those guys up front, it's really going to just spread to every spot on the field.
Yeah, and that really showed tonight. I mean, they only had 72 total yards of offense. I mean, most of that came on Hargrove's touchdown. It was a 26-yard touchdown run in the second quarter. So you're talking a third of your offensive output on one play.
Which Luther did too, by the way.
Yeah.
25-yard pass for their 75-yard offensive line.
But it all comes back to that offensive line. I mean, even Flotmeyer again tonight didn't have a lot of time to throw like we saw last week against West Salem. A lot of pressure. I mean, I don't think there was as much pressure as there was against West Salem, but there was enough to make him uncomfortable and also enough to make him get the ball out early.
Okay.
They weren't able to he wasn't able to try to get down the field a whole lot to Miskowski like we saw early in the year. I think Yashinsky was a little bit surprised by that, but I think a lot of it has to do with his offensive line. And I mean, you don't want to necessarily, if you're Tom Lee, you don't want to have your sophomore quarterback sitting back there holding the ball for a long period of time if you know that the offensive line might not hold. It's not worth the risk, right, to Flotmeyer's health for that. But Flotmeyer was 4 of 11 for 26 yards.
That doesn't
and
a lot of victories.
It's brutal. It was brutal. And on the flip side, I mean, so we can obviously attribute some of that to them being down, like we said, Cambio and 4 offensive linemen. But I mean, Onalaska played pretty well defensively too. I mean, you don't allow 72 yards of offense unless you're playing the right way. And
in a game decided by that many points, you probably have guys in there that don't play a ton.
Exactly.
Either.
Right.
To still maintain that.
Right. And the flip side of that then is Onalaska's offense was doing essentially whatever it wanted to do. It got the Landon Peterson back today. He kind of was the spark, scored their first 2 touchdowns, beat his man on a nice double move for the first one, and then he's just so fast. For a second one, he was in the slot and just raced to the goalpost, and it's pitch and catch. It really is.
Scholarship track kids are fast.
Right. So he finished with 6 catches for 93 yards and 3 touchdowns. Hudson Weber tonight, 6 catches for 133 and 2 touchdowns. Also threw a touchdown pass on a nice little reverse pass to Peterson.
He's had a really good year.
He has. And talking with Peterson after the game, he had nothing but good things to say about how hard Hudson Weber works. And I mean, apparently it sounds like too he's got some sort of hockey thing going on this weekend that he's got to get off to. But so he's juggling all these things and still putting up these numbers on a Friday night. Aiden Larson was 13 of 17 passing for 237 and 4 touchdowns.
It was a really good game for him. For the first
really
time.
efficient.
Statistically,
he threw a pick. He threw a pick that wasn't a great decision. But I think there was something after the game. He was like, "That's a mistake that I've got to cut down." Like he knew it even without me asking about it. That was something that was on his mind post game. And I think he was sacked only once, and he took the blame for that. So the offensive line gave him plenty of time to throw tonight. Really efficient. Both Yashinsky and Peterson said they feel like he's getting into that rhythm now. Things are really starting to click and slow down for him. Alvaro Romero had 25 carries for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they were able to do, like I said, whatever they really wanted to do.
That's 300 yards in 2 weeks for him.
Right, and that offensive line is just impressive. Like I said, Larson had as much time as he wanted back there. And, I mean, when you're running for 120 yards, and it was 46-6, like, in the third quarter, too. So
And Holcomb did more than play line, right?
Yes, he did. He kicked an extra point late in the game. I saw Yashinsky tweet out a video of a lineman catching a 2-point conversion last week. They were trying to pull out some of these things. They're down their kicker right now.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get unique with some of their 2-point play calling. They pulled out a few interesting, unsuccessful attempts tonight. One was a Colton Hogan throwback. He was essentially playing quarterback on this 2-point conversion. But
they let him kick too, so.
So yeah, I mean, this is a good win for Onalaska. It's their second straight. It's the first time they've won back-to-back games this year. They've got Menominee next week.
Yeah, that's a game.
Yeah, they're happy about, like, we've talked about this throughout the year. You know, this is the year to schedule games like that, and that's what he was saying post game. He's got a good relationship with their coach, and it should just be fun, right? I mean, it's always good to see. I mean, high quality programs.
And they've seen a lot of them this year.
Right.
In Alaska, so that's good.
Right. Other noteworthy things, Caledonia. They just
It's 4 touchdown passes, 1 touchdown run. They beat the number 6 team in the state,
handily.
6.
And that's
scored
6
the first 33.
Right. And that 6 was in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's
they
just
gave up
nuts.
some yards, but I'm not sure where those yards came from. It may have come later in the game.
Right. But
yeah, Eli King.
He's electric. He's electric.
Had a hand in 5 touchdowns last week and 5 touchdowns this week.
Right. West Salem wins his 3rd straight.
McConkey had 3 touchdown runs, touchdown pass. They gave up the first touchdown of the game. He got picked early.
Right.
But they were able to keep their wits about him and stick with what they were doing. And he had a good night running the ball, of course. And the team played a good defense again.
Yeah.
Another week of good defense. So I think we can.
Panthers
is a quality group.
Right. Exactly. Like I said earlier, Blair Taylor's 5-0.
Yeah.
Kane Fremstead was 10-22 for 203 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also ran for a score. And he's spreading the ball around too. And I mean, Matthew Brandenburg, 26 carries for 141 yards and touchdown. So Blair Taylor's a really balanced offense this year. Not that they, necessarily weren't in the past, but it seems like they've been doing things right there.
Yeah, and scoring a lot of points.
Right.
Yeah. Tonight, they've had some close games. This is the first time I think that they just really took it to somebody, and I think that was probably something they needed to do on a night like this. Had they walked out just squeaking out another win, I don't think they would have been very happy with it. Right. So they kind of went out and showed what they were.
Yeah. Prairie du Chien drops almost like a last second heartbreaker.
They had some of those games.
So they were up 22-21 with about 3 or 4 minutes to play in the fourth, and they go up on a Braden Saint touchdown run, who had, by the way, 51 carries for 253 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, holy cow. That's just nuts. Like, Prairie du Chien had 306 total yards of offense, and Braden Saint had 253 of those on the ground. Anyway,
wrestler too.
Yeah, he scores, so they go up 22-21. Lancaster returns the ensuing kickoff for a score, and they get the 2-point to go up 7. Okay, but the thing is, you still got time. This thing is, if you're Prairie du Chien, you still got time, right?
Yeah.
So down by 7, less than 4 minutes to play. They go 63 yards and 14 plays. They get down to the 7, and they turn it over on downs with 11 seconds left. And that's how the Blackhawks lost tonight.
Tough one. And the close loss to Tomah last week too.
Right.
Another tough one, so that's 2 weeks in a row for
Right.
Blackhawks.
Right. And I just 51 carries.
Yes.
51 carries.
That means you got tackled 51 times on a night like this.
Oh man.
And I'm sure none of them was he just just shoved out of bounds.
Yeah.
He got tackled and hit the ground.
I think that about wraps it up
I
for
think
us
so.
this week.
Yes.
We'll be coming at you again next week with our preview and our recap. Again, you can find all this stuff on lacrossetribune.com. You can find all of our videos, whether it's videos like these or our highlights, on our YouTube channel. You just go to youtube.com and search Lacrosse Tribune and we'll pop up. You can subscribe to us so that way whenever we post a new video, you can get a notification on your phone. That's nifty.
Yep. Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter.
We don't have every platform, but we have a few.
We do. But thanks for tuning in tonight, and we'll talk to you guys again next week.
Thanks for watching.